Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Conjurer's Table. It is me, Matthew, and today I have something very special for you guys. I'm going to be doing a protection ritual that I crafted up myself, and I'm also going to be showing you guys how I make my voodoo dolls. Yay! So exciting! So let me just get into my chat here. I love how long it takes for my iPad to bring up the chat. But how's everyone doing so far today? I hope everyone is having a good day so far. Hello, Gina. Hi, Jen. Hi, Justin. Hi, Kat. Hi, Sonia. Hello, Tammy. How are you guys doing today? So, yeah, just gonna let everyone kind of filter in a little bit before I begin. Hi, Lady D. Welcome. Before I begin my ritual. Now, just a little backstory. I kind of had to like shuffle around what I was going to do today because I had a few things planned out. But then, of course, some things didn't go quite to plan, so I had to like rearrange everything all over again. Hello, Ellen. So, for example, I originally was going to do a skull consecration ritual, but because my skull hasn't arrived yet, I had to think of something else. I was talking to Hexen last night, and he brought up the brilliant idea of showing you guys how I make my voodoo doll. So I was like, oh, what a brilliant idea. So I decided to do that along with the protection ritual that I'm going to do, because I specialize in doing protective work. Obviously, because I do a lot of it. So I've had a lot of time to perfect my skill in that. And also, it's always good to learn how to protect yourself, which I view is very, 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 very important, especially when you're doing other kinds of work. Who else is here? Hi, Tina. How are you? So, guys, are you guys ready to learn how to do my protective spell and make a voodoo doll with me? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it one more minute, and then I'm going to begin. Hi, Steven. Welcome. So glad you're here. And while everyone's kind of filtering, I'm just going to take a sip of hot chocolate. Not wine this time. Plus, it's freezing out. But the weather's been really, really weird lately, guys, here in Rhode Island. Like, 2 days ago, we had our snowstorm, and then it was, like, super, super freezing. And then a day after that, it was, like, just complete rain. Everything melted. And then it's gone back to kind of chilly, but not, like, super freezing like it was a few days ago. So, and this is with peppermint, you guys. Oh, tangerine's live at the same time. Oh, well. Not wine this time. Right, Gina? Yeah, I decided to change it up a bit. But no, when doing rituals, for me, it's important to definitely have a clear head. So I do not mix my alcohol with doing rituals. Bite me, Maddie. I have snow still. That's me biting you, Jen. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jen. Yeah, I saw. I was an ass, and she sent a picture or a video clip of the outdoors and the snowy landscape, and then I sent a clip of my door, and then I'm like, oh, Jen, I feel so bad for you, but if it makes you feel any better, and then I, like, opened up the door, and I went, look, it's so clear outside, the snow has melted. And I was like, ugh, I was an ass for that, but it was just a joke. But, okay, guys, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do is actually take the camera and flip it this way so that you guys can see what's going on. And I didn't realize that was in the photo, but oh well. My cats are a little squirrely, Jen. Okay, so let's flip, shall we? Field trip! Whee! Okay. And that's kind of where it's going to happen, so let's adjust. Okay, I think you guys can kind of see what's going on, because the majority of it is going to be right here anyways. Okay, so let's get started. Hi, Simon. Welcome. So glad you're here. I'm just going to leave this kind of right here so I can kind of see the chat. because clearly the camera's right here, so I can't see what's going on in the chat if you guys have any questions. But let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is light some star anise. The struggle. I can't even get this bag open. Put it on there. Oh, I need a lighter. That would have helped. And guys, the charcoal I'm using right here is Quick Light. Actually, I probably should put that right there. Put that here. Come on, flame. This smells lovely. Spark, spark, spark. Okay, while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna kind of go through what I have here for this protection ritual. So obviously I have a pen, or not a pen, a pin right here. And this is to scribe my intent onto the black candles that, or the candles that I have. So the main thing I have is this jar here. This is where everything's gonna go in. And then I have a black candle and a white candle. Now the reason for that is to create balance. There's always a good aspect of magic and there's always a dark aspect. And when you have both, it kind of cancels everything out. Hence the protection. So what it does is it forms kind of like a barrier of positive and negative magic. And then of course I have my Van oil that I'm going to use to dress the candles. Then I have my bay leaves, because I'm going to use 2 bay leaves. One side I'm going to write the person that I'm going to be adding on for the ritual, and then on the back side of the bay leaf is going to be the intention of the spell. And then, I know guys, it's kind of gross, but I have nail clippings from Dave and I to add into it, because you always want to add a little bit of your essence into the spell. And then I also have some pins, because I'm going to take the bay leaf, I'm going to pin it to an apple, which I have right here. Now, the reason for an apple is because if you actually look at it when it's not cut this way, I cut it the wrong way, but it actually creates a pentacle, which is representative of protection and witchcraft. And then I'm going to be forming around the jar some graveyard dirt, some black salt, and red brick dust. And I always do these 3 because they're the most powerful forms of protective magic. And then within the jar, I'm going to be filling it with my homemade Rosewater to promote peace and love within the environment. I am in a deep-seated state of bottle lust. Okay, so let's get started. So, first thing I'm going to do is my star anise, now that that's a little bit right there. Well, it smells lovely. I don't know if I just did that right. Nope, I did. There we go. Now it's burning. Okay, guys. Oh, it's so pretty. Smells interesting. Okay, so first things first. Obviously, I have my jar. Open the lid. Place it over there. Now, the first step, remove the candles, is, where's my bay leaves? Right here. So I'm going to take 2 bay leaves, and on one side, I'm going to write my name on one bay leaf, and then Dave's name on the other. the struggle. So let's say this one. And come on, there's got to be a larger one in there. Let's take this one. Sorry guys, I'm just putting all the bay leaves back. Hi Lucy, welcome. Hi Al. Oh guys, the first thing actually I do before I even start, which I completely forgot to do, is to cleanse the space. So I already have my incense going. And we are ready to begin. So the first thing I'm going to do on one side of the, if I can get my freaking Sharpie, is write the names of the people who you want to protect. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, good. So on one, I'm going to write my name. On one, I'm going to write Dave's name. As I wrote. I'll just show you guys. So I write Dave's name and my name. Then I'm going to flip it over, and on the bay leaves, I'm going to write the intention of what this spell is for. So I'm going to write protection on one side. Bam! So as you can tell, one side's our name, and then the other side is the intention. Now you're going to put them together. Take your apple and take a pin, and you're going to pin the bay leaves to the apple. There we go. Bam! Just like that. And then you're just going to place it inside the jar, as such. And then you're going to take whatever other essence of yourself and add it. And what that does is it helps to amplify the power of the magic and make that stronger bond and connection that you need. Now, the second thing I'm going to add is some of my Rosewater, which actually I should have... Hold on, I'm going to go grab a funnel, guys. Sorry. So I could not find a funnel, sorry guys, so I'm just going to gently pour it in. And you're going to fill the entire jar up. And then replace the lid. And the next what I'm going to do is create a ring around the jar of each of the 3 kinds of dusts and dirt that I have. So first, I'm going to start with black salt, as I have right here, and create a ring. So there we go. The first ring is complete. And then next, I'm going to be adding a second line around it, which represents a second line of defense, and that is going to be my red brick dust. And voila, the second line of defense, the red brick dust. And then the final line of defense, of protection, is going to be my graveyard dirt. And that's going to be the outer line. So as you can see, guys, every line that I add, come on, graveyard dirt, do your thing. Oh, okay. And it's okay if it kind of spills onto the other lines, just as long as you have that strong line. That's the one thing I hate about graveyard dirt, is it doesn't want to really cooperate with you. There we go. And there you have it, the 3 rings of defense for protection. Don't forget, you can buy black salt or make it from ashes. Exactly, Jen. Thank you. My patient is here. No problem, Jen. Do you ever crush the powder your graveyard dirt? Wait, what do you mean, Lucy? Do you ever crush to powder your graveyard dirt? Well, Lucy, if I understand what you're saying, what I'll do is when I collect graveyard dirt, I actually will sift it. So I get 2 different forms of dirt. I have a finer version, which is this, and then I'll have a clumpier version, which is the leftovers that didn't get strained through. So I have 2 different types of graveyard dirt from the same graveyard dirt, if that makes any sense. So that's that. And then the final step is to carve your intentions on both the candles. And you want to try and get it written at least between 3 to 7 times onto the candle. So I'm going to quickly write protection. I don't know if you can see. There we go. And just for the sake of the video, because I still have something else to do, I'm going to write it 3 times. Protection. So that's once. Oop. And we have a jumper. Protection again. T-I-O-N. And one more time. So for today, I'm just going to do, I'm writing protection onto the candle 3 times. I almost forgot how to spell protection. And guys, just remember, if you have any questions, make sure to write it in bold. So obviously you guys can't see that because it's all white, but I wrote protection 3 times on that one. And then you do the same thing. Makes sense. I mean, use a mortar and pestle when grinding leaves and such. Oh, Lucy, yes, I do. I use it all the time. Unless, obviously, I can't crush it, then I do not. Another thing, guys, you can use is that I discovered is using a mini coffee grinder to grind up things. Protection. So there's one. T-I-O. Oop, that O didn't come out. Protection. And one more time. So as I said earlier, I'm writing it 3 times. And there you go. So I wrote protection 3 times onto the candles, on both of them. And now the next step, guys, is to take, I use Van oil, which is this right here. And the reason why I use this is because it's an all-purpose oil. You can use it for anything. So I actually use this a lot. Hi, Bumblebee. Yes, I am doing a protection ritual. And at the end, I'll quickly run through again what I did for those who just came in. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm just taking some of the Van oil and I'm anointing both of these candles. And the way I view this is it's kind of sealing in the intention onto the candle. Set that aside. And anoint this one. And as you're anointing the candle and writing, you want to be thinking of your intention the whole time. So that's anointed. Welcome, Diane, and Tina Smith, and Starlight. And then, wherever my lighter just went, oh, here it is. Then what I'm going to do, guys, is then burn underneath the candle here so that it drips onto here, so it creates a stronger hold and kind of sets it into place. And just kind of press it down, let it go, and then let it cool. And then do the same thing with the other candle. And then just let it sit and let it cool a bit. You can also blow. No problem, Elle. No annoying questions ever. Does Dave practice hoodoo voodoo too? No, he does not. Dave is as he calls himself, I forget what he calls himself, but he practices wizardry. So because we both practice 2 different things, the beauty of it is we're able to teach each other and take what we know and create our own unique rituals by combining things together. So, for example, Dave is really skilled with candle magic. So he will do the candle work. He'll take the candles that we need. He'll carve them out. He'll anoint them. He'll also dress the candle with different herbs. I create the rest of the jar work. And then anything else herbal related, we will do together because we're both really skilled with using different herbs. Maddie, why is that sometimes you use a candle holder into the hat and other times you put the candle directly on the jar. Oh, it really depends on what I'm doing at the time, and plus, because I have cats, I sometimes will place it on top, or also it depends on the jar. For example, when I did my peace water earlier, the candle wasn't staying on top like this. Like, no matter how much I like put wax underneath, it just would slip off. So that's why I had to use a candle holder last time. So it really depends on the settings. And then finally, to enact it, you think of your intention and light the candles. Come on, wick. Oop, you can't see that. But I lit the candles. And then the spell has begun. Now what you guys want to do is wait until the candles have completely burnt all the way down. Now, the spell will not be complete until the candles have completely burned down. It's okay to blow them out if you're going to sleep or if you have somewhere to go, and then to just relight them. But just know that every time you do that, it'll just slow the spell down a little bit. And it won't be complete or fully enacted until the candle has burnt all the way down. Hi, Rochelle. Hi, Minky. So guys, let me move this back a bit, is my jar spell. And I'm just going to quickly go through again what's in it. So inside the jar, I have 2 bay leaves. On one side of one bay leaf, it has my name, and on the other side, it has Dave's name. And then on the back side of both the bay leaves, I wrote protection. I took those 2 bay leaves, pinned them to an apple, because apples are used for protection, and because they have a pentacle in the core. And then I took that, placed it in the jar, filled the jar up completely with rosewater, and then I created 3 rings. So the first ring closest to the jar is black salt. The second ring around that is red brick dust, and then the outer ring is graveyard dirt. Now what it's doing is it's created so that it creates barriers, layers of protection. So if one layer is broken, you still have 2 other defenses. And actually, I created this ring thing all on my own. I actually did that one time with a different ritual that I did, but it was similar, but it had several different candles representing different people, and then I had a line of each one going to the center jar, so it was like a connection. But yep, that is how I do one of my protective rituals. And then, of course, I'll just let this burn down all the way. Anyone else have any other questions? Maddie, where did you get this spell? It's a new one I've never heard of. You never heard of it, girl, because I created this last night. That's one thing I love to do, is I love creating my own spells and my own rituals. And I literally just combine things together, and I just go based off of instinct. I've read a couple things here and there on how to create spells, but a lot of the time it's based off of my instincts. So yes, I know the basics of how to create a jar spell, but I never follow the rules of a jar spell. I create them to fit my needs, and I add whatever I need to the jar. And then the rings I actually created myself. I've never seen anyone else do that, but it just made sense to me. Did I? Oh, no, Rochelle, you haven't yet. I'm actually just about to do that. Yeah, that is my beautiful jar spell that I concocted last night. So I'm just going to quickly blow the candle out and move the jar, and we can get on to the voodoo dolls. Before I do, does anyone else have any other questions that I possibly missed? I'm just going to scroll up for a second so I can see. Makes sense. Crush the graveyard dirt. Doop, doop, doop. Everyone's saying hi. Okay. I love it, Matt. Witches say once a witch, 100 times a witch. Oh, 1,000 times a witch. Exactly, Lucy. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm just going to quickly move this without trying to burn the house down. Okay, and I'm back. Phase 2 of the operation. How to make voodoo dolls. And guys, making voodoo dolls are actually fairly simple. They're not as complicated as people think they are. Grr. Hold on, I just need to move some of this out of the way. So it's here. Keep that there. It's over here. Put that there. So I'll just show you guys once again the one that I made. So this I made completely myself. I even sewed the back. And actually what inspired me with this one was Dave and I went on a kayak during the summer, I think about 3 years ago when I made this one. And the best part of it was we were kayaking and Dave and I were getting tired and he was like, oh, here's a little spot that we can pull over. There was like this tiny little pathway thing. So we just pulled right up onto the pathway, got out and started walking down. And when we got to about 2 minutes into the walk, we came across what someone had kind of created was a fireplace. And we sat there, had our lunch, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of inspiring me to do something nature-based. And it made me think of a voodoo doll. So what I did was I actually started collecting all the things that I needed from that kayak trip. The twig that you see here, this is all from the nature around me. I collected this thing here. The Spanish moss was not from it, but it was the base that was important to me because it was the twig represents nature, and I was like, that'd be awesome to create a voodoo doll out of the things that I found in nature around me. So then, of course, I came back and I concocted, you guys. I concocted this little guy, and his name is Billy. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't give him a name. But what is Spanish moss? How is it different from regular moss? So regular moss is green and kind of looks like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's a lot shorter. So you know, like when you think of Ireland, unless it's just me, I think of Ireland and moss and it's just like short little mossy bits. Well, Spanish moss is a lot longer. So for example, this here is Spanish moss. It's a lot longer and a lot more kind of twiny looking. But this is used as a great base for voodoo dolls. We stand a concocted voodoo doll. Yep, it's more spongy. Thank you. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing you guys need is a twig. This one is special to me because this actually is from an ash tree, which is sacred to Hecate. So technically, it'd be awesome to make a... Ooh, actually, that's what I'm making today, guys. I'm going to make a divination or a Hecate altar doll today. So I'm going to use this as my base. Sorry, Hecate. So you simply just break the twig in half because you need 2 different pieces to create the base of the voodoo doll. So we have our base, and then you also need some string. Sorry, I forgot what this was called. So you can tie the 2 together. So let's use the brown one. Come on, string, do your thing. Ha, that rhymed. Yes, Lucy. Hecate. Let's say we need that much. And then just set that over on the side. Now I'm going to put these 2 together. So what I'm going to do actually is take the string, put it in half, so it creates a little bit thicker and it's a little bit easier to maneuver. Okay, maybe that was a horrible idea. 1 second. go. I can just start wrapping this around. Sorry if it gets so quiet in here, guys. I'm just concentrating and trying to wrap this at the same time. And then just gonna tie this off. And bam, the base of the Voodoo Doll. Now, the next thing you want to do is take any cloth, and because this is a kind of spiritual slash divination doll slash Hecate, I'm going to be using purple because purple represents spirituality, especially when it comes to divination and anything psychic. And I'm just going to cut some strips, so it just makes it a lot easier to work with. So like I did right here. And you want to make sure they're kind of thick because you're going to be wrapping it around the doll, but you don't want it so thick that it makes it really difficult to work with. But then again, you can always cut the strips thicker or longer if you need to. And just in case, I also kind of cut a different kinds of lengths and thicknesses, just so I know what I'm working with. There we go. So I have one that's a little bit thinner. So just set that on the side because the next step is going to be filling the doll. Oh my god, that scared me. That was Alexa that just went, I'm not sure. So one thing you're going to want to do, guys, is take this and place it underneath because you're going to end up wrapping it around. So place it like that. Then you take your Spanish moss. Ooh. Okay, that was a lot of Spanish moss. And just set it there for a second. Actually, I don't think I need all that. I just need that. And just make sure you have your vacuum close by because it'll get messy. And just kind of want to take the Spanish moss. Oh, look, an extra twig. And kind of crunch it together because that is what the base is going to be. And then just kind of wrap it a bit around this twigs. And then what I do is I just start wrapping it around. So as you can see, I kind of wrapped it around this way. And then I'll take this end over here and wrap it around the top, like so. And it's okay to have a little bit of the moss sticking out, which is fine. Come on. . again. And then take the other one and wrap it around the bottom. And you want to make sure it's rather tight. And then it would have been nice to have pins. Haha, pins. Where are my pins? I just had them. Come on, pins. Here they are. Because it'll be helpful to pin the fabric in place, because the second part later on is you're going to sew a little bit, if you know how to sew. So for example, back here, I'm just going to pin this in place. Yeah, that didn't work. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I need something a little stronger, because those pins are flimsy. And plus I need to open this up because I'm going to sew later. There. So for now, I'm just going to take these two little sewing needles. So I'll pin him in place. And take this a little tighter. Where's the other sewing needle? And then pin this in place. Okay, so that's what it's kind of looking like. And then for the arms, it's okay to take a second one, and you can even change this up. So this is the base. You can even, if you wanted to, take a different color and wrap around the arms. So where's my scissors? I'm just going to create a thinner piece of fabric to wrap around the arms. Oh yeah, I just need one. So what I'll do is I'll kind of start, actually let's just start here. So kind of bring it here because it'll make it a lot easier to wrap around. And then you just start, oh, sorry, I forgot. Wrapping it around the doll. And then usually I would take a pin and pin that, but because I kind of need the other pin, actually no, I'll just do it for that purpose. Then pin it in place. And that, guys, is the basis of a voodoo doll. Now what you then do later on, which I will probably do later, but I'm not going to do it right now, is I would actually go in and sew the areas that the fabric didn't, obviously will fly off if you don't sew it. So I'd sew right here, I'd sew back here where this part went, and yeah, just those two areas. And then you can add other things inside the voodoo doll, guys, before you even start wrapping. For example, where is it? In this one, obviously what I did was I went again with a second piece of fabric to give it two tones. And then inside, before I wrapped that, I added these little twiggy things, as you can see in the back. So that's wrapped around inside. But inside the voodoo doll itself, where you would put the Spanish moss, I actually added some dandelion in it. You can add any herb you want inside, guys, before you even start wrapping it up. But that, guys, is how I make my voodoo dolls. Oh, you can't see. There we go. Sorry, I'm like looking from the side over here, so it's like hard to see where the camera is. But yeah, guys, that is how I make my voodoo dolls. And they can range from, you can even glue little things on. For example, if you had super glue, you could decorate it with cowrie shells along here. You can add little googly eyes if you wanted to. There's a lot of different things that you can add to a voodoo doll to personalize every single one to fit whatever need you're going with. But that is just the basis of how I create him. And that is the back. And that's the front. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the ritual and enjoyed how I make my voodoo dolls. Does anyone have any questions before I wrap this up? Hi, Hexen. No questions, guys? Ooh, I just realized I'm like in the way of the camera. Ooh, actually. Hello, everybody. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, really? Let's bring it down a bit so we can see me. So that, guys, is how I make my voodoo dolls. As you can see, he looks similar to this one now. Oh, they're so cute. I'm gonna name this one Simon, guys. No, I'm just kidding, Simon. Oh my god, guys. This one's Simon and this one's Jen. No, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. Unless you cross me. Not kidding. But, wrap this up. Haha, just like a voodoo doll. Untouched beyond words. Yeah, Simon. So, if I named this one after you, just remember, if I snap this arm... No, I'm kidding. Jen. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And Jen said I will be going live after Maddie, but we are going to do YouTube so everyone can be involved. Oh, there's a question. Okay, sorry. Jen had a question. Now tell us, Maddie, of course the usual stigma is you then hex people, but that's not all you do. Tell us what you use them for. Well, guys, put it this way. Voodoo dolls are conduits of energy, or for a spirit. So a voodoo doll can be used many, many, many different ways. For example, other than obviously the stigmatism of using it to harm people, you can use it as representations of people and things. So for example, when I'm doing a ancestral magic, when I'm doing ancestral magic, I will actually use the voodoo doll to act as a conduit to house an ancestral spirit. So what I'll do is I'll place it on the side, I'll light some incense, and I'll add a candle, a purple candle, or actually no, a white candle, that I would use to house an ancestral spirit. For example, if you're doing it for love, what you could do is obviously you'd have the herbs related to love. You could fill the poppet with herbs related to love, maybe add some fingernails or whatever essence of the person, or even if you're adding, what's it called, a petition inside it. And then yes, you could pin the heart, but when you pin the heart for love, that doesn't mean that you're causing them pain. What you're doing is when you add the pin to the heart, you're actually creating that focal point of energy because it's serving as that beacon, if that makes any sense. And when it's coming out of my mouth, that just made no sense to me. But yeah, so it could be used for love, you can use it for money. Voodoo dolls can be used whatever way you want to use them for. They're not necessarily always used for evil. Even when it comes to healing. Like for example, if someone had a headache and you wanted to kind of help get them through the headache, you could pin the head because, again, that's the focal point. You'd be pinning the forehead to put that concentration of energy that you're releasing into that person. So as I say, I use voodoo dolls for representational magic. Oh, but what do you use them for? I'm curious too. Just said that they're great for healing work. Exactly, Lilypad. I love that you use natural ingredients. Yes, because yeah, it's great to buy voodoo dolls. Where are? Oh, here's mine. For example, I got this guy when I was in Salem. Oh, you can't see his face, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. He has little eyes. But this just doesn't feel the same when you buy things from other people that you didn't make yourself. I find it a lot more inspiring and a lot more fun to make my own things. Which is why I like to gather my things and make my own voodoo dolls, because when you're creating your own voodoo doll, it's like you're putting your own effort, your own energy, and your own magic into making that doll. Whereas when I buy another doll from someone else, I feel like I'm trying to tap into someone else's energy. It just doesn't feel right to me. I use stones and stuffed animals as vehicles too, Jen. Oh, wait, did Jen say something? I often use stuffed animal for long distance Reiki. Oh, that's so cute, Jen. But these would be great for that. You could focus on the part that is hurting, etc. Exactly, Jen. Which is one thing that I'm trying to teach everyone what voodoo dolls are meant for. Because obviously, thanks to Hollywood, they think that we just walk around with a voodoo doll in our hand and we're like, oh, that guy like stole my money, I'm gonna stab his heart and he's gonna fall down and die because he deserves it. That is not what voodoo dolls are meant for. Generally working. Tina Smith, I so agree. You begin to infuse your intentions into it. Exactly. And at the end, the most important part is like the satisfaction when you've completed something you worked hard to make. And you're like, oh, like I just got so happy, even though he's not complete. Like it makes me happy when I see this. I'm just like, this is something I made. This is what I put my effort and time into. And it'll have a greater purpose now. Right, Simon? Right. No patience right now. But yeah, anyone else have any other questions on how I did my ritual in the beginning? And, oh, also, I just wanted to say, guys, for that ritual of protection, it's a little bit different because, for example, I know you're supposed to dispose certain things, and a lot of people have been asking me, like, oh, once you're done with the ritual, how do you know where to dispose it and when? That's a tricky one to answer because every ritual you do is unique into itself and will have different things that you need to do to get rid of it. So, for example, oh yes, I'll get into that question, Lilypad. The protection jar I just did, once it's done burning down with the candles, I would not dispose it at the crossroads. I would not, actually I probably would bury it in my yard. I wouldn't throw it into a rushing river because you want to actually keep hold of it. Because protection is something that's close to you, so you want to keep it close by, and you want to make sure it remains undisturbed, meaning no one goes and tries to open up the jar. Because the second that jar is opened, you've basically just released everything that you were trying to protect, and then it becomes null and void. And you kind of just lost the purpose of the protection. So what I'd usually do is after the candles have burnt down, I will seal the jar with wax just to give it that extra protection so no one opens it. And then I'll either bury it in the backyard, or actually not the backyard, the front yard, or just in case if someone accidentally did dig it up, I would hide it like in a cupboard, but in an area that I know someone would not reach in and be like, ooh, what's this? Reach in, grab it, try and open it up. So just as long as the jar remains undisturbed. That's the most important part of the protection jars, at least in my opinion. How do you feed yours? Have you done a video on how to make your rosewater? Tina, I actually did. I did, I think, 2-3 videos ago. What I'll do, guys, is in the description box after this, I will write a list of all the ingredients and herbs for the protection ritual for you guys. And what I will also do is put the link to my Rosewater, so I can show you guys how I made that. And the ingredients, because making Rosewater is super, super easy. It's literally just a jar, you add some dried roses into it, and then add alcohol and Florida water. Shake it up, let it sit for a day. You can either leave the rose in there or you can strain the roses out. What I did was I shook it, let it sit for a day or two, then I strained out the roses and then added like 2 more roses back in, and that's what it was. Talking about feeding yours. So what I do, guys, is when I anoint it to give it that extra boost and to feed it, I will literally either do a drop of my own blood, or I will use re-anoint it with Van oil. Oh, you can't see that, but it says Van oil on it. Or I will anoint it with a different oil depending on what I'm doing. So for example, if you're doing a love spell and you let it sit for a few days, you can always take the, what would be used for a love spell? Actually, that's a good question. I don't really do love spells often, but you could take an oil that's associated with love spells and just dab the forehead every so often. So every like few weeks, just to keep the power or the magic flowing. Thanks, Tar Apple. I couldn't remember. Awesome, Maddie. Look forward to it. Thanks again, Maddie. Oh, bye, Lucy. No problem. Thanks for making Voodoo Dolls more accessible for the eclectic witch. No problem. It's awesome because I do practice voodoo. I practice hoodoo. I've started to learn more about witchcraft, but I'm seeing a lot of the similarities, guys, between the different crafts that I know. Like, for example, there's Kulam, and then there's Santeria, which is a branch of voodoo, and then there's witchcraft that's similar to hoodoo. It's just beautiful to take all these different practices that we have and just see the beauty in the relationships and how every practice out there are very similar to each other in different ways. So it's kind of cool to take different things from different practices and combine them to fit what your need is. And plus it makes it a lot more helpful because if you don't have something in one practice, for example, say I didn't have graveyard dirt for protection, but I do have black salt, which is also used in protection in witchcraft. I can easily go, oh, okay, I know about that from witchcraft. I can apply that to my own practice. So it opens up a lot of other doors and allows you to realize that you can use certain things to substitute. So you don't literally have to go crazy trying to get all the herbs out there and all the curios, which means curiosities, for hoodoo. You can use the things in witchcraft because they correlate. Does that? Yes, correlate. Sorry, I was like, is that a word? That sounded weird. But just a little thing, guys. When I say curiosities, it's like things that are kind of weird that are curiosities. For example, this little guy right here, which is a pop. Well, this also it's a frozen charlotte, but I use it as a poppet. But this would be considered in hoodoo a curiosity because it's not an herb, but it's like something a little bit different. To me, they would serve the same purpose. Oh, sorry, I just saw this. Do you feel that voodoo dolls and poppets serve the same purpose? Yes. Actually, a poppet is the same thing as a voodoo doll. Just we prefer to use the term poppet because it sounds a little bit less scary than when you say a voodoo doll. Because, of course, when you say a voodoo doll, people go, oh, voodoo doll. But when you say, oh, yeah, I'm just making a poppet, they're like, oh, okay. But yes, a poppet and a voodoo doll and a wanga doll are actually all the exact same thing, just different versions of it. For example, this is a poppet, but made out of twigs and moss. And then, of course, you have... Ouch, my ear! You have your clay voodoo dolls, or poppets. So, yeah, there's different types of poppets and voodoo dolls out there. They're all the same thing, same purpose, just different ways of making one. Got a patient, have to go. No problem, Lily. Thanks for stopping in. Me too, they would serve the same purpose. I mean, physically, are poppets and dolls different things? Oh, physically, no, they're the same thing. The word, think of it this way. It's kind of similar to when you refer to a book that you write in as a grimoire or a book of shadows. That word has become interchangeable, and now people are kind of like, okay, well, the grimoire is similar to a book of shadows. It just depends on the way that you want to use the word. So physically, a poppet is the same thing as a voodoo doll. Hi Dave, you just came to the end of this video. What time is it? Oh, it's 2. Oh, it's on an hour. Okay. Um, but yeah, does anyone else have some other questions for me before I hop off? That's my waiting face. My cute little waiting face. Questions? No. Okay. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. And I look forward to seeing you guys attempt making your own voodoo doll or poppet or wanga doll and show me what you guys come up with and the different kinds of dolls that you make. And I look forward to seeing if you guys do your own rituals, record them, because I would love to see what kind of things you come up with. So guys, I will see you guys later, and thank you so much for stopping in and watching how I made my protection ritual and my voodoo dolls. And I will see you guys later. Have a good afternoon, night, or good morning, whatever it is for you around the world. Thanks, guys. Bye.